Welcome to another week of the Premier League rundown. Only 2 days of games this week, but a few exciting games, especially at the bottom of the table. But we'll first start with a game that affected the top of the table: Aston Villa 4, Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4. And another game where Arsenal just came off the back of 4 games without a win in all competitions, and they started the game ropey again. Watkins got through early, a great goal, great ball match cash. Watkins is on fire right now, great finish by him. Suspect maybe defended by Sleeper again. And you thought, are Arsenal, starting to fail here in this title race? Is the pressure of the games, is it too much to them right now? And fair play to them, they came back, they got their goal, Saka with a great finish for his goal, but then it happened again. And the second goal was very unlike Arsenal season. They had the high press, but there was a massive gaps between their attack, midfield and defence, and their attack wasn't pressing that much. They're in positions, but they just easily played through them, and then Villa just got the pitch very easily and cut them right open. And Coutinho with his finish, good by him. They need Aston Villa. In the right they are in right now. They need someone like him, and if they can get him into form, he's so good. But I don't think it's happening for him. And then so you got 2-1, and you go into half time, and what Arsenal going to do? And they came out the second half, and they were a lot better in the second half. They were slow, much less opening transition. Maybe that was because Aston Villa decided they were going to defend, but good finish by Zinchenko to make it 2-0. And we thought, as the game was going to finish 2-0, we thought, this is going to be Arsenal drop points again. Another game without a win, but they need their luck, and they got their luck. Jorginho with an effort hitting the crossbar, hitting the back of M. Martinez's head and go back in for a goal. There's not much luckier things that can happen in football than that. And then they got their next goal with Martinez going up pitch and Martinelli getting an easy goal. But Arsenal, defensively, they've looked really shaky recently. Really, really shaky recently. 6 games without a clean sheet for them now. 6. You would have thought that beforehand they would get collecting clean sheets from, but 6 games without a clean sheet. 2 goals conceded to Aston Villa, who not great right now, and Aston Villa themselves are without a win in 3 games now. 11 goals against in the last 3 games. They're not in the good form. The only player performing as well, or their attackers are actually played quite well, because they've scored in every game Emery's played it, Emery's managed in. You wouldn't have thought that was the case. You thought under Emery they'll be a bit solid defensively, a few nils here and there to get them back up to speed, but there's been scoring goals, but there's been conceding a lot, which is a bit unlike Emery's teams. But Ollie Watkins under Emery, 11 appearances, 6 goals, 2 assists, and 4 in his last 4. Amazing. Since what was really strange about the sign of Danny Ings last season was we got Ollie Watkins, who just came off the back of 15 plus goals in his first season in the Premier League. And you go, well, why are you signing Danny Ings? And now he's been trusted to play that striker role, and he's back to his best, getting runs in behind, getting into space, and he's playing really, really well. But it wasn't the most, high quality game from either side. Arsenal, they struggled a bit. Saka, struggled, but then he got his injury taped up around his ankle, and he was struggling with that. They got really better after that. Martinelli had a bit of impact off the bench, but it wasn't, pure Arsenal football that we've seen for this season. But you got to be wary that other teams other than Aston Villa might be able to do a bit more in the second half, and Aston Villa in the second half really, really disappointing. They hurt Arsenal in transition the first half, but in the second half they didn't do anything. They really found it difficult. Maybe that's Arsenal, maybe it's Aston Villa being asked to sit back a bit more, but really disappointing in the second half by Aston Villa. But good for Arsenal, gets them back to the top of the table, and good for them. But move on to the next game. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1. It wasn't the most exciting game of football, was it? It's 2 teams that, they don't have the creative players. Well, Palace have a few, but there's not much creativity. They're both better in transition on the counter. Neither team were really able to open each other much. Crystal Palace get their goal through their creative players. Vieira, play Eze more with Elise. They're so good. There's so much potential there, but he doesn't unlock them. But you see the quality there. The quality on that ball from Elise to Eze, amazing on that right hand side, cutting inch perfect to the left. Really good by Elise, but they they don't seem to combo much, and you want that bit more, but hey. But then, great resilience by Brentford. They're not on this run for no reason. They got back into it. They pressured Crystal Palace, and they got their goal in the final minutes. Vitaly Janelt, he's a great player. Been very good this season, even last season. But yeah, that kept their run going. Now they're 11 games in the Premier League undefeated. 11. Really good run. 5 wins, 6 draws. So not winning every game, obviously. We'd be hearing a bit more if they're winning every single game. But 11 games without losing a game. And there were some hard games in there as well against the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal. Really, really, really good run. And that's put them... It's got them 9th in the Premier League, quite a solid 9th as well. Got them 4 points away from Chelsea, got them level on Brighton, Liverpool, a few points away from Fulham. So European football is a very big possibility, especially if they keep up this run. Really good for them. Crystal Palace only have had 7 games without a win in the Premier League. Now, doesn't look great for that, but they played Spurs, Man United twice, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, now Brentford. So all the teams are in the top 10. So 7 games without win, you go, not great, but they got draws against Brighton, Brentford, Newcastle, and Man United. So 4 draws against them teams, you probably would have maybe pick up a couple more points, but still not. You'd like at least 1 win from them, probably. If you're Crystal Palace, you got ambition to get into the top half of the table. 1 win. It's gone a bit stale right now under Vieira. But again, they're the kind of team that plays really well against the bottom of the table teams. Against the top teams, I don't think they're that good. They're not that great on the counter-attack. But when teams are prepared to sit back against them, they do quite well. But they're 12th in the table now with 26 points. Only 6 points clear of the relegation zone. You know, big day, big weekend for the relegation teams picking up a load of points. So 6 points away from the relegation zone. You've got to be careful with that, Chris Palace, because another 3 games without a win, and suddenly you're 2 or 3 points off the relegation zone. That puts too much pressure on this team. I don't think they should worry about, like I said last week, I don't think they should worry about this now, but again, you don't want this run to keep on going. We'll go into one of the big relegation games now. Everton versus Leeds. One team turned up, Everton. Everton turned up, Leeds didn't. Everton, a very good front foot performance. You know, didn't see as much at Burnley under Dyche, but Everton on the front foot taking it to Leeds, and they did really, really well. Leeds can handle it. Midfield of Decore, Idrissa Gueye, and Onana, amazing. I would have wanted that more under Lampard, but that midfield, there's so much physicality in that midfield. That's really hard teams, even with a team of Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams, who are known for their physicality and robustness. They couldn't deal with it, and Everton really good, getting the ball out wide to McNeil and Iwobi. They didn't even have their main striker in Capital, and they had Mopai up front. And Everton just creating chances and easily playing through Leeds, and Leeds just look like a team without a plan and without a manager. And they're without a manager. Like, they did well against Man United for 2 games, but with the fans and the rivalry between them games, and that can bring you through a few games. But it's in these games where, yeah, you're away from home against a team. Yeah, it's a relegation fight, but a bit nervy as well. It's harder to get up for these games, and a game against the rivals that's their cup finals. That's where the plans go in, and they looked like a team that had 0 shots on target, 0. They had no creativity. With like the Somerville and Nonto up front, yeah, they're young players, but they haven't got the end product right now to do it. And you think someone like Bamford does, and he's looked so bad this season. The amount of times Leeds are in good positions, the amount of times he miscontrols it, or he just misses it when they're in great attacking positions, it's been happening far too much this season. But yeah, great goal by Coleman. Not sure he meant it. He says he meant it, but if he did mean it, amazing goal. Even if he didn't mean it, it's still an amazing goal. But yeah, Everton now at the relegation zone, Leeds into the relegation zone. Leeds 11 games without a win. They need a manager. They can't keep going like this. They need a manager. I don't know who it is. Whether it's Rafa Benitez, somebody. They can't keep going like this. But the problem with Leeds, they were too picky about it. They're too picky about wanting the front foot manager. Now they might get relegated. Probably should have gone earlier, or even stuck with Marsh if he didn't. You needed a succession plan in place, and they clearly didn't have that. And that's what you need when you got a well-run football club. You need a succession place. Even when the managers are doing well, you got to know if this starts going badly, who's our candidates, and they didn't have them. Well, they did have candidates, but they didn't sound them out properly. But now that's taken them into relegation, and now they seem desperate for managers. But we'll move on to a team that are doing well without the manager, is Southampton. Bottom of the league. They stay bottom of the league despite winning away at Stamford Bridge. Graham Potter's team losing again. We'll start about Southampton. I thought they played really well. I thought they played really, really well. And I know that it's like the same formations and stuff they played under Hasenhüttl, but it just looked a lot better. And the spirit looked a lot better. The two in midfield, Ward-Prowse and Labia, were amazing on the ball, off the ball, really, really good. The front players were involved. They were on the front foot in the first half. They had the better chances in the first half. They were taking it. Chelsea had nothing for them in the first half. And the Ward-Prowse free kick, amazing. It's Ward-Prowse. You can't give away sloppy free kicks like that on the edge of the box. That's like number one in the game plan against Southampton. And Chelsea were only starting to create chances when Southampton started to sit back, and they sit back because they're winning, and even then Chelsea weren't really able to make any chances. Then it's another goalless game for Chelsea. That means they scored 6 goals in the last 14 games, and them goals came against Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Crystal Palace, and West Ham. Attacking wise, they are so bad. Only really Sterling had the chances yesterday to score. They had nothing. They're a team without chemistry. They had no idea how to play with each other, and Potter doesn't seem to know how to do it either. It's all going wrong for Chelsea right now. The manager isn't really inspiring the players. He hasn't got the greatest tactical plan for them. The players don't know what they're doing. The players don't know what they're doing tactically or with each other. So it's all too much for them right now. It's really all too much, and that means in the last 14 games, they've got 2 wins, 4 draws, 8 losses. For Chelsea, it's terrible. Any other time in the last 20 years at Chelsea, they would have been sacked. Any other time. But they're convinced they're going to keep with Potter. Fair enough. You just hired him. You sacked your Champions League winning manager for him, so you got to keep going with him. It's going to cost a lot of money to replace him as well. I mean, I don't think they're really scared of spending money. But he's got to pick up. He's got to get 4 wins out of his next 5 to see any improvement, or at least 3. Go and beat in your next 5. Or at least get through the Champions League, because if you finish 10th with this squad, players aren't going to want to come. Players are going to leave. It's really, really bad at Chelsea right now. But give credit to Southampton. They played really well. They looked so much better under Sellers than Nathan Jones. He looks like he had a real connection with the players. Or with them celebrating at the end, it looked like the players really wanted to win it for him as well. And he looked really cool on the touchline as well with suit. And yeah, 3 points off 17th now. Really big win for Southampton. Really, really big win. But yeah, Chelsea, 10th place. 2 wins in 14. You know, they're 3 points above Aston Villa in 11th. 4 points behind Brentford, so they're just stuck in limbo in that place now. Really, really bad, and there wasn't really a good performance. You can't go, oh, at least this player. There wasn't a good performance by any player. No player had a good performance. Like the new signings, Fernandes, he's good, but he wasn't great. You expect him to do better against Southampton. Mudryk off the bench didn't play that well. Starting for Fofana at top was a bit mad, and Madueke as well. Like, what do you expect? Madueke's barely started for PSV. Fofana's come from Norway, and now you expect him to start in the Premier League together. I understand starting them if they're surrounded by top quality players, but they're not right now, and you expect them to win games. They're not going to win you games like that, especially when the whole other team rest of the team is faulting as well. It seems unreal to me what Potter's doing right now, and that's why I put the problem with Chelsea this summer is because these players aren't going to be able to gel because one, players can't gel that quickly, and 2, young players can't gel that quickly. It doesn't work, and you can see why it doesn't work. Over time, it might work, but right now, really, really bad for Chelsea. They look lost. Moving on. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 1. I don't know how Nottingham Forest got this game. They were dominated for the whole game. Dominated. Man City were in total control. Total control. They were 1-0 up. Bernardo Silva, great finish, great goal by them. They were controlling the game, getting their own way. Nottingham Forest not really posing much of a threat. Haaland missed them chances. Them 2 chances in a row where he missed. You expect him to score, but massive misses. That cost them the game. Cost the game. They saw Arsenal win earlier, so they saw this was a must-win game, and they couldn't win. Ball into Chris Wood. As I said last week, I don't really like Chris Wood, but he saves them this day. They just paid, 20 million for him during the week because of his clause in his contract where you play 3 games, you pay 20 million. But yeah, and he was able to tap it in at close range to give Nottingham Forest a 1-1 draw. Big game, both ends of the table, that means. It put Nottingham Forest in 13th, above Leicester. They're 1 point behind Crystal Palace, 2 points behind Aston Villa, but also means they're 5 points away from the relegation. So it gives them a little buffer. They're not in the greatest form right now, so a point against Manchester City, really good. And like Chelsea, they haven't got players that gel to them, so you think over the next rest of the season they might be able to be better. And it just shows the improvement on the squad as well. From the battering that they took at the Etihad earlier, 6-0 in the season, it shows a lot better. And Keylor Navas as well, he was amazing again. The quality difference he's made in that squad, amazing for them. But yeah, City, I think what their goal showed was the lack of physicality in team. I know Pep Guardiola loves his technical players, but in the Premier League, you've got to have a little bit more physicality, and that goal showed a little bit frailties in there. The team they played, the Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Laporte, Diaz, Grealish, De Bruyne, Foden, Gundogan. There's not much physicality in there. One of the best technical team in the league, but physicality, and again done by physicality a lot of this season. It's a lot different to previous seasons, and that means they've had 2 clean sheets in the last 9 games. That's completely different to a City side in recent years. Usually over a 10-game period they'll have 5 or 6 clean sheets, and now 2 in the last 9. Really poor goal concede. Gibbs White was able to dribble past quite a few players, just a lot of standing still and easy to get through them. And, on the bench, they haven't got the greatest impact off the bench. They've only really got Cole Palmer, Alvarez, and Mahrez that can have impacts off the bench. So it's not looking great for City. Not looking great, and that leaves them 2 points off Arsenal, and Arsenal have a game in hand as well. So big weekend at the top of the table. And City just don't look the same this season. Really don't. Even before all the FFP stuff, they really didn't look the same. And Guardiola's tinkering during the international break, now having Bernardo Silva as an inverted fullback, is a bit strange. I don't really get it, and now they're suffering because of it. Move on to another game where the team that dominated didn't get the points, and that was Brighton versus Fulham. Brighton absolutely dominated for 90 minutes. It was Brighton attacking the whole game. Fulham didn't have a shot in the first half. That's how much Brighton were in control of this game. Solly March was amazing again, like I said last week. One of the best players in the league right now. He created 5 chances, 3 big chances as well, but like Brighton, they couldn't put them away. And Fulham, late in the game, Solomon comes up with a goal. It's the second goal in 2 games, and nicks it for Fulham. One of the most dominant games of football, you would see. Brighton, 21 shots, 7 on target. Fulham, 5 shots, 2 on target. 2.2 XG for Brighton, 0.34 for Fulham. And it's a big game as well, because that meant Fulham goes above them into 6th place. I mean, they played 2 more games than Brighton, but really big win for Fulham. And now, for Fulham, that is, in the last 9, 6 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Great form. It's a bit weird saying underrated, because they are going under the radar this season. They're 6th in the league, a newly promoted side, 6th in the league, and they didn't spend loads of money. They didn't go Nottingham Forest mental. They didn't spend loads of money, but they're 6th in the league, and I know they didn't play this well, but they're getting results. They're not playing well every game, but they're getting results, and they keep finding these results in games, and really, really good for them. Well played to Marco Silva, because they found the formula and it's really working for them. But yeah, disappointing for Brighton. They had so many chances. McAllister had a few chances. Really disappointing. Evan Ferguson missed a couple. But they really need that. I was saying they need a striker, but Evan Ferguson's that guy. I think they can rely on him now and bed him in. But they're lacking that clinical edge. But that's what you kind of expect for a team between 5th and 15th or 20th. That clinical edge they don't have. And over a long time, you prefer being the team that created all the chances but missed them. But having a team with a few chances, but you seem to take them because you have the more chances to score, and over time you probably take that, and that's what Brighton are. They've had that for the last few years, and look where they are now. And I think they'll take that, being 7th in the league, 2 games in hand, and with their games in hand, the opportunity to go into 6th, maybe even 5th. But yeah, disappointing. Brighton would be definitely disappointed. Fulham be elated because they didn't deserve to win and they won, and they got into 6th place. And then we'll move on to the last 3 p.m. kickoff. Bournemouth. Wolves, kind of like what they've been the whole season, really. Different to what they've kind of been under Lopetegui, but just they dominated the game. They're in control. They didn't dominate. They were in control of the game. Bournemouth didn't really have much for them apart from when they scored, but they didn't really offer much. Bournemouth, but for the Wolves were in control and possession. Ruben Neves was quite good, but they just don't have that clinical edge like Brighton. But even creating chances, they're not great at. But with their front players, Sarabia, Traore, Cunha, there's no goals in there. Sarabia is a creator. He's not a great creator, but he's more of a creative player. Adama Traore is the same, but a dribbler. And Matheus Cunha, he's a link player. He's not a striker. He's really not a striker. He's a link player. He drops deep, drops into spaces, gets his teammates involved, but he's not a clinical striker. So in these games where a striker is needed and a finish is needed, they didn't have that, and they got punished for it because one Bournemouth attack early in the second half, and they're able to score. Great ball by Solanke into Tavernier, and Bournemouth get the goal, and much needed win. Really much needed win. That was their first win since the World Cup breaks in 7 games. They're out the relegation zone now as well. That's what they needed. Really need that. And I like the new look in the field of Traore, Billing and Lerma. Really good physicality in there. Got a bit of technical ability in Traore as well, but Lerma gets himself back. Billing, that big, strong, tall physical sense, and really, really, really good against Wolves as well. Wolves didn't create a load of chances. Yes, and they weren't creating chances at will. What they is 1.29 XG, so you expect them to score a goal, but not nothing special. Don't expect them to score many. But yeah, Wolves just don't have that cutting edge. They don't have that striker who's got great movement in the box, gets himself open for chances to be created for him. They just don't have that, and that really again showed in this game. It's kind of been shown all season with Jimenez dropping out of form since his head injury. Diego Costa's not that guy anymore, and then their other striker, I can't remember his name, Kolarczyk, who got injured in his first game. But much needed win for Bournemouth. Big confidence boost with their new players as well. They needed that. Move on to the next game. Newcastle 0, Tottenham, Liverpool 2. Well, Newcastle started off really well. They were on the front foot early. Then they started off really well, but then kind of like Liverpool of old, suddenly you're 2-0 down. This is what's been different kind of Liverpool last year. It's like over the past few years when Liverpool and City were the greatest, City would wear you down, methodically open you up. But with Liverpool, you would, in a blink of an eye, be 2-0 down to 2 quick moving passes, and you didn't know what you did. And this is more like that. The goals of Núñez, the goal Gakpo. Quick play, get the ball forward, open them up, and you're 2-0 up. And it reminded me of the old Liverpool. And to put salt in the wounds for Newcastle when they're 2-0 down after 15 minutes or so. Nick Pope decides that he can be a keeper outside his box. So Anderson plays the ball over the top. Nick Pope comes out to stop Salah going through, tries to dive and header it. Hits his head into the ground, and then when he's 20 yards outside his box, he just goes to grab it. And he knew straight away that he's gone, whoa, what have I done here? Because not only has he grabbed the ball outside his box, he stopped Salah going through as well. And now he's out for the cup final. They can't even play Dubravka because he cup tie for playing for Man United. So now they're playing Karius, who hasn't played a professional game in about a year and a half. But the weird thing is that past that point, Newcastle were a much better team. They created much better chances than Liverpool. Like, Liverpool still created some chances as they would against 10 men, but Liverpool were really not good. Newcastle were a lot better, and what's different with Newcastle in this game? They were playing in transition. In the last few games, they're playing against teams sitting back, and they didn't really know what to do because they're not that incisive team. Kind of like the early days of Klopp, where in transition on the counter, and they were really good, but when teams started sitting back, they didn't know what to do with themselves, as they weren't then transition opportunities. But now in this game, when they were transition opportunities, they were really, really, really good, and they should have scored a few goals. Wilson, Saint-Maximin, there were chances there, and they couldn't take them, but Liverpool were lucky at times. I don't know if that's Liverpool taking their foot off the gas, or if that's Liverpool being really bad. You don't know. Was it Liverpool just having a good... the Klopp saying to them, just calm down, you don't need to play that well, we'll win this, or is that Liverpool being the same team that we've seen recently and just not being very good? It's hard to tell, but it's not a good thing that they nearly lost the game, or could have lost the game, where they're down to 10 men after 20 minutes. But yeah, with Newcastle now, 1 win in the last 7, 3 goals scored, really, really struggling there, and with a cup final, it's not great to go in out of form. And without your best goalkeeper, but they will have Bruno Guimaraes back, and that's big for them. He's their best player, most important player, and he connects the whole team together, because that midfield of Anderson, Joe Linton, and Longstaff, that's not a very good midfield. There's no player there that's got any ability on the ball or whatsoever. But yeah, for Liverpool, they can they've got a game in hand, and if they win that, they can go within 3 points of Newcastle in 5th. So suddenly they're back into the top 4 race. Can they get a run together? If after 20 minutes it can go anything by? Probably not. But as Nathan Jones said, going down to 10 men, being a team up against 10 men, it's a detriment to you. Got to live by what Nathan Jones said. But yeah, good performance by Newcastle, so it'll give them a bit of hope. If they lost this game 4 or 5, it would have been really down to go into the cup final. But having that performance where they could have got a point out of it, probably made them feel a bit better, just for being down to 10 men. Moving on to the team they'll face in the cup final, Manchester United versus Leicester. Weird game, because Leicester starts off really well. Because Leicester came in this form, 4 goals against Aston Villa, 4 goals against Tottenham, and they started really well. They started very strong. Man United, again, very open in transition without Casemiro. Really loose on the ball with Fred in the midfield, picking up deep. And Leicester opportunities in the first half, Barnes, Iheanacho, great saves by De Gea kept them in it. And as Leicester were growing and growing, United suddenly score. Face gives the ball away, decides to push up the pitch, leave Rashford, and Bruno with a great ball over the outside. Suter tries to play the offside trap at the cup, but it's about a second late. And Rashford's through a goal and slots it past Ward, 1-0. Marcus Rashford, one of the best players in Europe right now. And yeah, you go completely against run of play, completely. And that kind of took the wind out of Leicester's sails, and after that point, they really didn't do anything. Even for the rest of the first half, where still Man United weren't great, they still couldn't really do anything. In the second half, United were absolutely dominant. They came out creating chances, playing some really good football, playing it around Leicester like they weren't there. And their second goal, Martinez into Fred in midfield, Fred turns Master Rashford with a run on the outside inside. Fred plays the ball through on goal, 1-on-1, scores again. Since the World Cup now, 17 appearances, 16 goals, 4 assists for Marcus Rashford. Amazing. Really, really, really good. One of the best players in Europe, if not the best right now. On form, he's the best player in Europe right now. And really, really took advantage of a really bad Leicester defence. Really bad. I don't know whether that's new players. It probably is new players, Christensen and Suter, with Mendy in front of them. He's not new, but he's not great. He really isn't great. And just before they haven't got that Ndidi Tielemans partnership like they had in previous years that were really good. That really covered up for Brendan Rodgers, another great defensive coach in the league. And after that, great team goal again for Man United. Rashford into Sancho, outside to Bruno, back into Sancho, scores. Good combination. I like Bruno on the right and Sancho middle. So Sancho gets the ball in tight spaces and can create, players converge on him. Bruno with the space out wide, really good at crossing and then gets it in. That's why Ten Hag like his creative players on the outside. As they have a bit more space when the pitch gets congested, they're always available. But yeah, few interesting performances. Sabitzer with a great performance. Wakehorst, great performance other than finishing. It looks like the worst finisher you've ever seen. You can't know how he scored 20 plus goals in the Bundesliga, but he did. But other than his finishing, he was amazing. His link-up play, his defensive work rate, his pressing was really good, but that finish really evaded him. But yeah, really good performance by Man United. They could have scored 4 or 5 in this game. And Leicester, it worried them a bit. Because I know they played really well against Aston Villa and Leicester and Tottenham. They're really good, but a lot of goals from outside the box. And they're doing this again against Man United. So many shots outside the box. And yeah, like some games against Aston Villa, Leicester and Tottenham, they go in and you score 4 goals. But against Man United, they had so many shots in this game. They had 19 shots, but 1.4 XG. So many shots from outside the box. And when they don't go in, and you concede a lot, they concede 4.2 XG, you're going to lose this game. You're going to lose. But yeah, 8 games without a clean sheet now for Leicester as well. Not great, but over time, they would hope the new defence sorts itself out. But yeah, I think it's just a really good performance by Man United. So I don't think Leicester could have done much in that second half. They're really, really good. They should have took their chances early in first half. It could have been a game that finished in 4-3. That's how many chances Leicester had in that first half to score. And if it wasn't for De Gea, they probably would have. But yeah, good performance by Man United. They're now within 3 points of Manchester City with the same games played as well. 5 points behind Arsenal. Arsenal do have the game in hand, but they're in the title race now. Very much so. And then we'll move on to the last game, Spurs West Ham. Stalemate first half. Two teams that rely on the counter-attacks, and obviously Tottenham were going to dominate the ball more often than not, but they didn't really have much for West Ham in the first half. They couldn't create anything. West Ham couldn't create anything. There weren't any good players, but West Ham really open in the second half, really open at times. And Emerson got through 1-on-1 and he scored, and you wouldn't expect Emerson to do that from Ben Davies as well as the other wing back. You go, we'll let them have the ball because they won't be able to create anything. It's Ben Davies and Emerson, but they created it and scored it. But yeah, West Ham really poor again. And Son with a good impact off the bench, and he's been really struggling this season. He's only scored once as a starter, but he scored 4 times now off the bench with that hatch against Leicester as well. I don't think he'll be on the bench much often, but he needs the confidence boost. He really needs that confidence boost, and I think he's maybe that is something they can maybe work on for the next 2 or 3 games. Is Richarlison starting? Given that defensive work rate he's not very good, with his end product. But Son off the bench against tired legs, that's how you get your confidence back. And he looked really confident off the bench. Every time he got the ball, he looked like he was going to score or create a chance. But yeah, Spurs, they weren't great. In the second half, they were a lot better than West Ham, but it might have just been West Ham being really poor. They were really poor. And that's why now they're in the relegation zone. They're 18th now, 20 points. 1 point behind Bournemouth and 17th, and they deserve it because they've been really, really bad. Really bad. In the last 11, 1 win, 3 draws, 7 losses, 1 clean sheet, 8 goals scored, 17 conceded. You're not, that's relegation form, and Moyes is going to have to start looking at his job soon. They're real danger of getting relegated, and with the players, the investment they had in the summer, the players they have at their disposal, Declan Rice inside, that's a top 10 team in the Premier League on player talent. And with the set pieces drying out from the previous seasons, they look like a really average team right now. Or below average team. And they are right now. And that second half performance was really, really bad. And they were lucky in the first half not concede as well, because they should have given away a penalty. Apparently West Ham's players are just able to handle it in the box and not get away with it. They did it at Chelsea last week, they've done it at Spurs this week. But I know it might be a bit overreaction because, well, you go away to Chelsea and Spurs, you host Chelsea at home, you go away to Spurs, you don't expect much as a West Ham team, but 1 point. But it's the performances, they're not, it's been over the whole season, the performances have not been there, and you can see a better manager getting better things out of these players right now. But yeah, good by Spurs in the second half, much better. 3rd clean sheet in 4 games, so they're starting to be better defensively. You know, clean sheets against Fulham, Man City, good teams. So they're starting better. You know, in between that was a 4-goal conceding of, you know, Leicester and the defeat to AC Milan as well. But a lot better by Spurs, but into the top 4 now as well. So top 4 race is interesting as well now. A point above Newcastle. Newcastle have the game in hand, so you know. But with the boy Newcastle playing, they might not win that game in hand. So I think the top 4 race now is probably between the Tottenham, Newcastle, and Liverpool. If Liverpool can get into their stride, but Tottenham, they have the players in the attack to cause trouble. That Kulusevski was a lot better today than he had been previously. But really dangerous on that right wing. But Son off the bench was a real help as well. Real help, but I think with the injuries they have right now, Bentancur injured for the season, I think the inconsistency is going to still show. And it wasn't the greatest performance against at home against West Ham. That team 18th in the league, you expect them to beat them, and they did. So they did their job, but it wasn't the most convincing, but they got the job done, and you can praise that. And without Antonio Conte as well. But the last 2 games without Antonio Conte, they've won. Does it say something? Don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I'm going to leave the episode there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one. Bye.